PMP exam is not from any book. Your PMP exam is from exam content outline. Now, exam content outline, you already know by not knowing it. You actually already know by not knowing it. What do I mean by that? The course content that we provide you, it has everything in the exam content outline. But in next 30 minutes or 1 hour, then we will solve question answers. In next 30 minutes or 1 hour, we are going to go through the exam content outline one by one, and I want you to ask the questions, understand it, and maybe explain it along the way. Okay, fair enough. Everyone, put yes or no in the chat box. Okay, okay, let's go with the that. Acha ji. So straightforward. You just type ECO on it and you directly get exam content out. This is a document. Okay, I'm gonna put it also into your link later on. If you want to read it yourself, you can read it. The entire exam is based on this thing, exam content outline. Okay, the last update was January 2021. Okay, the entire exam content outline. So exam is divided into people, process, and business environment. People is 42% of the exam, process is 50% of the exam, and business environment is 8% of the exam. Okay. Total that become 100% of the exam. Okay. People, process, business environment. Okay. If the exam is 50% process, what does that mean? How many questions will come from the process domain? Put in the chat box. Let's see your math also. How many questions will come from the process domain? 90. Exam is 42% people. How many questions will come from that? And then how many questions will come from business environment? Okay. So this is clear how now the problem with the exam questions are here. The problem with the question is that you don't know which questions will come from which area. I don't know. Like the questions are emerged. When the questions come in the exam, it's not like that the questions are coming from this domain. Okay, no, 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 no. The question does not come. The question comes as a combined questions. Okay, that's the beauty of the exam content outline. Okay, so let's go with that. Okay, let's go one by one with the domain. So let's go with the people first. Okay, task. What do the task mean? Task mean as a project manager, you must be able to solve this thing. You must be able to handle this thing. Okay. So let's start with you, Faisal. Can you read task number 1 for me? Now we will going through the entire task and then I will be asking, what does that mean? And if it's not clear, I will be explaining to that. Faisal, what's the task 1 mean?
Manage conflict. Interpret the source and stage of the conflict. Analyze the context for the conflict. Evaluate, recommend, reconcile the appropriate conflict resolution. Conflict resolution solution, sorry.
Conflict resolution solution. So what does this question is actually about? So this exam content outline part belongs to which area? Faisal, which area it belongs to?
Uh, Manage conflict is
Correct.
stakeholder management.
No, it is conflict management. Okay.
Yeah.
It is conflict management. There are 5 levels of conflict. Guys, everyone else put in the chat box what are the 5 levels of conflict. Faisal, do you have idea what 5 levels of conflict are?
No.
Okay. Everyone else, if you know what are the 5 levels of conflict, put in the chat box. What are the 5 levels of conflict? There are 5 levels of the conflict: problem to solve, disagreement, contest, crusade, world war. Okay. So the question says interpret the source and the stage of the conflict. What stage the conflict it? Why the conflict happen? Okay. Why the conflict happen? Analyze the context of the, like, what is the reason behind it, doing the root cause analysis, why the conflict really happened. Evaluate, recommend, which approach. So what are the approach of for the conflict management we use? What are the different approach? Everyone put in the chat box, what are the different approach we use for the conflict management? What are the different approach we use for the conflict management? Problem solving, collaborating, confronting, forcing. So this task talk about that domain. So are we clear about that? Do you know that thing or no? Even without knowing this, you knew that or not? Task one is clear. If anyone has any cross question, feel free to ask. Now, let's go with the second student, someone else. Sheriar, can you read the task number two for me, please?
Yeah, lead a team. Task 2 is lead a team. Set a clear vision and mission. Sup- Support diversity and inclusion. Example, behavior type, thought process.
Mhm.
Third one is value servant leadership. That is relate tenets of servant leadership to the team. Fourth is determine an appropriate leadership style, directive or collaborative. Fifth one is inspire, motivate, and
And influence team members.
that is team contract, social contract, reward system. Next is analyze team member and stakeholder influence. Then at last distinguish various options to lead various team members and stakeholders.
So this exam content outline, what does this shows? This talk about team charter,
Managing team.
managing team and stakeholder. This talk about the team charter, team contract, social contract. It talks about that. It talks about rewards and recognition, right? It talks about servant leadership. It talks about different other type of leadership. It talks about how we work with the team, how we analyze them, what are their like influences there. It talks about power interest grid also. Again, okay. Task number two, if anyone is not clear about that, please. Task number two, anyone is not clear about that, please ask. Is it clear? If it is clear, put yes, we can move forward. I need your verbal approval if this is clear to you. Because I want to make sure those people who are in the everyone is clear about these things. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Task number three, Kasim. Yes, of course, everything I always share. Asad. Ji, Kasim, task number three.
Task number three is support team performance.
Mhm.
Appraise team member performance against key performance indicators.
Okay.
Support and recognize team member growth and development. Determine appropriate feedback approach. Verify performance improvements.
So we provide the training. Training need assessment to team member. We the training is done. I measure the training and then I measure the training outcomes. That's all about task number three. Okay. So again, this team thing, we are clear about that. Okay. We are clear about that. Quickly, guys. Okay. Wasim Ahmed sir, next task, please.
Empower team members and stakeholders. Organize around team strengths. Support team tasks accordingly. Accountability. Team task accountability. Evaluate demonstration of task accountability. Determine and bestow levels of decision-making authority.
Okay. So we use RASI and RAM. Okay. Then we discuss SWOT analysis. We need to identify strength, weakness, opportunity, threats, what each team members are doing, how we are going to provide them, what are the things we need to measure, why do we provide the task according to them. We give them the task, we give them the accountability, and at the end of the day, we measure into that. Clear? Easy peasy? My daughter says easy peasy, mano peasy. Is it clear to everybody? Okay. Anyone has any cross question? Feel free to ask. Tayyab Nasir, task number 5. Best to mean provide, give. Like,
Ensure team members or stakeholders are adequately trained.
mhm,
Determine required competencies and elements of training.
okay.
Determine training options based on training needs.
Mhm,
Allocate resources for training.
mhm.
Measure training outcomes.
Okay. Training need assessment, provide that training, identify the training needs, work into that. Then you need to set a resource aside. Don't resource management plan talk about you need to set a resource aside. You need to provide that training. We discussed this thing. Forming, storming, norming, performing, adjourning. At forming, the entire teams need training. Okay. Maybe along the way, emotional intelligence training needs are needed. Throughout the project, I need to provide the training. I need to go for the training. And if the trainings are required, we provide into that thing. Important thing. Many times people ask, is it the job of the project manager to train sponsor? Is it the job of the project manager to train them? Here the question says that, here the question says that stakeholders are trained or not. So what kind of trainings are for stakeholders? So where anyone can be a stakeholder. Let's say you have a supplier. You have a supplier when you are working in an agile project. Okay, you are working in an agile project. The supplier does not have an idea about what agile is. Okay, this is your job as a project manager that they know about agile, because if you are working on the incremental delivery and the supplier have no idea about the incremental delivery, how they can deliver into that? Does that make sense to you or not? Right? That I need to know that my vendors and my suppliers are properly trained and equipped into that way. Okay. G. Umair, unmute yourself. Read the next one. Umair, build a team.
Yes. Task number 6, build a team, appraise stakeholder skills, reduce project resources requirement, continuous assess and refresh team skills to meet the project needs, maintain team and knowledge transfer.
Okay. So now this task is very critical. What happened at the forming stage? First of all, I identify what skills are needed. What skills are needed? Then, according to that skills and the level of the skill. Like if there's a driver, the driver of a train is a different than the driver of a car, right? And crane driver is different than other drivers. So depending upon the skills, what skills do we have? I provide, we provide and we work into that way, right? We provide and we work into that way. And in that pattern category, we provide the skills, we measure the training account, training, and then we measure into that way. Is that clear to everyone? Okay. Ji. A very easy domain there. Okay. You were read build a team, na? Task 6 you read, na?
Yes, sir. Task 6 I read.
Acha, a very important thing here is maintain team and knowledge transfer. So there are two type of knowledge: explicit knowledge and tacit knowledge. Yeah, Wasim, I'm coming to that. Explicit knowledge and tacit knowledge. Explicit knowledge is basically a knowledge that is directly transferred, by numbers. Like if I say 450 PMP, now that's explicit knowledge. But how they become PMP, how we did the follow-up, how we worked into that, all those things are part of tacit knowledge. Okay, all those things, all the experience, what experience you went through, what are the things you learned, what things you did not learn, what did you miss, all are the part of tacit knowledge. Okay, so knowledge management in the forms of lesson learn, in the form of one-to-one interviews, in the form of information sharing. Like one of the students just shared you success journey, right? Wasim, that was a knowledge transfer. Okay, now how do I have the most updated PMP exams? How do I have the most updated simulator? A secret sauce. These people make the mock, right? These people makes the mock. They are my student. They are giving back. That's why marathon is so important. That's why we continuously worked into that and develop into that. Ji Wasim sir.
Sir, I had a question today in a mock. I think one of us. Why I asked for knowledge management. There was a question like team is dispersed all over the world, and there are communication problems and stuff. What the project manager will do? I'm not accurate about that. The answer was I selected that project manager should go through project management plan. Resource management plan or something. But it was saying knowledge.
Co-locate. One of the ways, whenever you have a problem
Yes,
about the communication, whenever you have a problem about the communication, co-locate them. Okay, there's a problem about communication, co-locate them. What is co-location?
sure.
What does co-location mean? Co-location means
Bringing them.
bringing the team or everybody at one place. That is a one phase. Acha. Other thing can be fishball meeting. What is a fishball meeting? Like this, long virtual meeting throughout the day. You can have that. Third thing you cannot do. Okay, you cannot do now. Team members are leaving. Other team members are coming and they are leaving. Then we can have a knowledge transfer meeting. Like previous PMP was going and he shared you the information. That is knowledge transfer. That can be looked into that. Okay. Okay, Vasim, is that make sense to you? And I really appreciate
Okay.
Vasim is asking question. That's what I am asking all of you. Please ask the question. Acha, there's a term that is called osmotic communication. Osmotic communication. Anyone can explain me what does that mean? When I say the term osmotic communication, what does osmotic communication mean? That is a term mostly used in agile. Okay. I haven't seen any, no one has informed me about any question that may have information regarding that. But if you see the word about osmotic communication, it's kind of a very interesting word. What does that mean? Okay. Listening from others while other people are talking, indirect communication in presence of others. We overhear communication. I am talking to one person, like Wasim asked the question, I am answering to it, but all 50 of you are hearing that thing, right, Saurabh? Everybody is hearing. That is overhearing. Now, when you are co-located, two people are sitting together, other people overhear it. That is the beauty of osmotic communication. Okay. In Agile, actually, we use osmotic communication, prefer, and then there's another concept of Agile, caves and common. We can have one area as a common area where everyone can sit together. And then we have caves. If there's a personal thing or if something need more dedication, we can go to that cave area. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay. So batch 7, that's why coaching calls are important. As we move forward, there are things I'm not sharing in the first day because if I give so much information, you will get drowned in the information. How many of you watched my video? Don't get drowned in the content. Anyone watched that? I've made a beautiful thumbnail there. Okay, I'll show you actually since you are here. I actually get inspired from Mr. Beats and we made the thumbnail like that. Video is one thing, but thumbnail, I love it. Everyone I showed, everyone has loved it, the thumbnail. How's the thumbnail? This one. Don't get drowned in the content. Did you like it, guys? So, to all of you, don't get drowned in the. Yeah. Acha ji, let's go back. So, we discussed about we need to maintain and transfer the knowledge among the team members, how the knowledge can be transferred, what works we can use into that. Akhil, can you please read the task number 7?
Address and remove impediments, obstacles, and blockers for the team. Determine critical impediments, obstacles, and blockers for the team. Prioritize critical impediments, obstacles, and blockers for the team. Use network to implement solutions to remove impediment, obstacles, and blockers for the team. Reassess continually to ensure impediments, obstacles, and blockers for the team are being addressed.
Okay. So what does basically the question ask here? What does that task ask? Act as a servant leader. That is the entire summary of this thing. Act as a
Mhm.
servant leader. So when you act as a servant leader, you will be actually addressing and removing obstacles. That is the definition of the servant leader. So when I say that in the project management or while solving the questions of PMP, you need to act like a servant leader, this is the reason. Here, task number 7. What is the definition of servant leader? Servant leader is someone who remove impediments, obstacles, and blocker. And that is exactly the task, right? That is exactly the task that is saying that not only you help them to remove that, if there are things and team is getting confused, you help them to prioritize. What are the most important thing? There are 10 things. What is the most important thing? Identify that thing. Okay. And this is not a one-time thing. Reassess it continuously. That the team does not have any kind of blockers. The team does not have any kind of a problem that is stopping them to achieve the best version of themselves. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. And we can use network to implement the solution. We work with the team, we do with the team, and we keep moving forward along with the team to see how further we can improve into that. Saurav, next one.
Task 8. Negotiate project agreements. Analyze the bound of the negotiation for agreements. Assess priorities and determine ultimate objective. Verify objectives of the project agreement is met. Participate in the agreement negotiation. Determine a negotiation strategy.
Okay, now one of the job of the project manager is to throughout in the project, we need to see what agreement we can work into that. Which agreements are important, which agreement is not important, what to look for that thing. So whenever the agreements are there, as a project manager, you need to take part in all the types of agreement. You need Asmita, can you mute yourself, please? Okay. You need to participate in the agreement. You need to identify what is inside, what is outside of the agreement. Okay. We need to prioritize and determine what are the objective, what are we doing here? Okay. What are the objective, what are we doing here? And then finally verify we are on the right track or not. Okay. And then participate into that. Is this clear to everyone? Task 8. Anyone has any confusion in that? Okay. I have no idea why. I guess my iPad is angry with me. I am not using iPad much now. Okay, let's read the next task. Okay, who will read it? Gautam,
Yes, sir, I can read. Task
collaborate.
number 9, collaborate with the stakeholders, evaluate engagement needs for the stakeholders, optimize alignment between stakeholder needs, expectations, and project objectives, build trust and influence stakeholders to accomplish project objectives.
Okay, so very simple. I need to identify who the stakeholders are. Once you identify the stakeholder, I need to understand what do they actually require, right? What are the needs of the stakeholders? What do they need? What do they expect? Things of those nature. Okay. I need to understand what does the stakeholder need, what are their requirements, and how do we work into that. And then once you've identified, evaluate what is needed for those stakeholders. Okay. What is needed for those stakeholders, what they actually need, and how I can fulfill their requirements. Is there anything that I can do better? Okay. Now, this is a very last line. Gautam, build trust and influence stakeholders to accomplish project objective. Doing the project objective is one of the most important thing, and I need to see how and what best way we can achieve the project objective. Okay, what are the ways we can achieve the project objective? That is extremely critical for the project management. Okay, if you cannot do, you cannot manage the project. That is as simple as I can put into that. If you cannot manage the project, the stakeholder engagement, you cannot do that. Tamur, read the task number 10.
Sure, sir. Build shared understanding. Break down situation to identify the root cause of a misunderstanding. Survey all necessary parties to reach consensus. Support outcome of parties' agreement. Investigate potential misunderstandings.
So again, conflict management is one of the most important thing. We studied in the task number 1. Whenever a conflict happen, I need to identify the reason behind it. The task number 1 says that break down situation to identify the root causes. Like, don't jump to the conclusion. Don't assume that this has happened. Break down it into the parts, identify it, what is the problem here. Okay, then check with the people, survey, and then get the agreement and continuously do that. If you don't do it, the problem will keep happening. You need to continuously check, recheck the problem so that you can improve that as you are moving forward. So this is the job of project manager. Okay. Ravi Lalo, can you read the next one? Very important. Task 11. Ravi Lalo. Okay. Abdul Alim. Okay, Ravi, you can read.
Engagement support virtual teams.
Mhm.
Task 1, examine virtual team members' needs, example, environment, geography, culture, global, etc. Task 2, examine alternatives, example, communication tools, co-location for virtual teams, members engagement. Number 3, implement options for virtual team member engagement. Number 4, continually evaluate effectiveness of virtual team member engagement.
So now you guys understand why I continuously say that, right? Uh, get the people together, get the people together, put them into one location. The here the PMI content are sharing to you. The PMI exam content outline are officially sharing it to you. By do the co-location. Why don't you do that? Then communication tools for virtual team. You see, this is very important. Virtual team is very effective. It's cost effective. Okay. It's cost. Just imagine we have a 4 days training and all of you have to come to US. Ticket to US, normal ticket, let's say from India or Pakistan is, let's say economy class or normal ways, $1,000. Okay. Just coming here, taking the training will cost you $15,000 normally. Okay, 15,000 if you want to attend my training. Let's say I come to Dubai and you want to take training in Dubai. Even in Dubai, you wherever you are, if you want to come, it will cost, let's say, $5,000. Okay, so virtual teams are necessary. Virtual team is important. It can guide you so much. But the problem here is that there are challenges. Like for example, many of you are not sitting at laptop. I know that for a fact. Some of you are at weddings and some of you are outside in the market, wherever you are logging from your mobile. That is the benefit and disadvantage. Okay, benefit and disadvantage, you are not 100% focused, right? So we need to identify the challenge. What are the needs they have? What are the individual challenges they have? I need to provide those challenges. I need to provide those needs. Then I need to continuously need. Okay, for example, let me put it this way. In 2020, when we went online, I buy one writing pad. Okay, now that was okay. Then, when after some time, I bought iPad, and for a long time, I sat on iPad and I provided the training like for 4.5 years. Then in one training in batch 2 or 3, I don't know what happened. I used my whiteboard. The training was very effective. People learned better. Then identify what are the mean. I identify whiteboard. You can use it. Now I'm using that whiteboard. I don't know about you guys. My energy goes incrementally when I'm standing. Okay. So I'm continuously seeing what 1% improvement, one is greater than zero. What 1% improvement I can continuously do that can improve the effectiveness. Okay. That can improve your effectiveness. Does that make sense to you guys what I'm saying? Okay. That is what the questions are saying it. Like when I'm writing now, I'm not writing ipad in on iPad and writing it down. I'm just reading. Before that I was writing it. What was more effective for you guys? Like which were making you more engaged? What would you say? I'm sharing the same thing while writing it down. I am updating iPad. It will take 2 minutes, so then we will start that. Okay, so this is the most effective way. You need to identify continuously what I can do, what I can do to add value. Okay, Dania, are you with me? Dania? Dania, can you read the
Yes,
next one?
yes, Amer. Yes.
Please, next one.
Define team ground rules. Communicate organizational principles with team and external stakeholder. Establish an environment that fosters adherence to the ground rules. Manage and rectify ground rule violations.
So we need to set ground rules, and if the ground rules are not done, we need to work into that. Acha, you do not need to be like a dictator like me, autocratic and thing like that. There's a various way to implement the ground rule. I remember one of the meeting they people used to do, and I was listening to this podcast. They put a jar, okay. If someone comes late, they will put $1 in that. If it's a meeting, let's say meeting started 11. If you come late, you will put $1. If you come after 10 minutes, 11:10, you will put $5. Something like that. Now, first time Tamur, you come late, you will put $10. Let's say in PKR, you put 100 rupees. That will be painful. And that money, at the end of the month, they would use to party and things of those nature. What do you think? How's that a ground rule? How's that a ground rule? When you are the one who, of course, we will enjoy a party, but when you are paying for that party, right? So you wouldn't like that at all, right? So that there are ways to engage at set the ground rules into effectiveness. But ground rules are important. Ground rules need to be managed, and ground rules need to be worked into that way. Very, very critical, and we need to follow that thing. Let's go to the next one. Asiya Amir, are you with me, sister? Asiya Amir,
Yes, sir.
please can you read the 13th?
Mentor relevant stakeholders, allocate the time to mentoring, recognize and act on mentoring opportunities.
Recognize and act on the mentoring opportunity. Now, again, training, coaching, and mentoring. Okay. So, what is the difference between training? Training is skill, some skills is meeting. Coaching is a soft skills. Okay. Mentoring is a long term. So, I need to continuously mentor my stakeholders, identify what does my stakeholder needs, and along the way, provide the training to the stakeholders so that whatever needs that stakeholders have, whatever the needs stakeholders have, those needs are fulfilled. And as we are moving forward, those needs are being fulfilled by all the stakeholders. There is no problem into that way. Okay, that is the way. Hemang, what is your question? I did not understand your question. Can you ask again? The significance organization.
In previous task, it mentioned organization principle to make a ground rule. So, what is the significance of organization principle in ground rule?
Okay, so when we are talking about organization, we need to follow the organization rules and regulations. Okay, so when I'm setting a ground rules, every organization has its own ground rules. I need to follow those ground rules. I don't need to make my own ground rule. For example, I remember I was in a project, I was working in a project. I learned this thing like you need to put money in the jar for that thing. Now, it is normal in the US, Canada, you can do it. But when I recommended back at there, the the country manager, he actually said that if we ask people, now this is a very interesting thing. If we ask people to put money, this will go against some organizational policy of HR and things of those nature. Somebody can complain to the international HR that they are taking money from us. Okay, Tamur, same thing, different way. Okay, you may be taking fun, but somebody he does not like it and he complained that that is against the policy. I need to see what is allowed in the organizational policies and then worked according to that thing. Okay. Acha ji, Zoheb, are you with me? Zoheb, Zoheb sir. Okay, no. Okay, read. Donald, are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Please read this.
Task 13. Okay,
No,
14.
14.
Okay. Promote team performance through the application of emotional intelligence. First point, assess behavior through the use of personality indicators. Second, analyze personality indicators and adjust to the emotional needs of key project stakeholders.
Okay, what is emotional intelligence, everyone? Put in the chat box. We discuss emotional intelligence multiple times. What are the 5 elements of the emotional intelligence? What are the 5 elements of emotional intelligence? Put in the chat box. Self-awareness, social skills, empathy, motivation. So then again, other motivational theories that comes under. So when I teach you, this is actually from this. Okay. By the way, it's a very important thing. All these tasks, when PMI is giving you exam, it is possible all the 42% of the questions they can give from one task, or they don't give any, or they give the mixed match. That is okay. Okay. Then on PMP marathon, we did MBTI survey. How many of you did that survey? And guys, everyone, please turn your videos on so that I can give you next task. Otherwise, those who I can see, I will be giving them task. I don't know, are you with me or not? So please turn the videos on. So did you do MBTI survey or you didn't do that on that day? If you haven't done that survey, I'm gonna ask you do that survey. Okay, you do that MBTI survey at least one, I would say do it 2 times so that any question come, you can answer it. So remember when we did that question, where 2 questions in marathon where MBTI survey was used. So when we went to the survey, we will be able to do that better. Okay, if you don't know how to do that, it's very simple. I'll share the link. You just go to MBTI. This is the free personality test, 16 personality type. Okay, it will take 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, complete it. This kind of helpful. Okay, so if I summarize the everything that we have studied so far in the people domain, people is 42% of the exam. Okay, what does it says? That's why I love Tuckman ladder. Forming, storming, norming, performing, adjourning. It says that identify skills of the team that we need. What are the skills that team need? Hire them, give them the task according to their strengths, make team charter and ground rules. Okay. Give them the responsibility, RESI, RAM, okay, and resource calendar. Identify the stakeholders. So the stakeholders are using power, interest, and engage them. Stakeholder engagement, and then along the way, manage the stakeholders. Communication. Okay. Then, as you move, you need to act like a servant leader. Remove the impediments, whatever the things is there. Identify training need assessment. Training need assessment, like what are the trainings that are needed from the team. Provide the training, measure the training outcomes. Be a servant leader and use active listening and emotional intelligence to understand the team member. When you are understanding the team member, self-awareness, self-management, social skills, empathy, and motivation is important. Then we know there are multiple motivational theories that are part of this Maslow hierarchy, halo effect, Maclin theory, Herzberg theory, expectancy theory. Manage the conflict as the team members have. We know that when you are managing the conflict, there are 5 levels. We discuss 5 level: problem to solve, disagreement, contest, crusade, world war. Then when we talk about the solution, we discussed win-win, lose-lose, win-lose, lose-win. We know problem solving, collaboration, compromising, all those things. Okay. Then different type of servant leadership, and throughout the project, he need to train them, coach them, mentor them. Okay. And whatever the needs are, of the virtual team, you need to provide the virtual team meetings. Is that what entire 42% of the exam is, or did I miss something? Please put yes, no, clear, anything in the 42% of the exam. So your total 42% of the exam is stakeholder communication team, nothing else. When I keep on saying stakeholder communication team, straightforward 42% of the exam is stakeholder communication team. Okay, everyone agrees to that? Anyone has a cross question, disagreement, please? Okay, now let's go to the remaining 50% of the exam. What do you need from my screen, Umer? Okay, this, if you want to take a screenshot, you can take it, guys. I was just writing what are the thoughts were coming to my mind. What are the thoughts were coming to my mind? Okay, let's go to the next 50%. Do you want to go next 60% or you want to take a 5-minute break? Put in the chat box. Okay, process. Now process is 50% of the exam. What does that mean? Simple. 90 questions will come from that. Everyone agrees on that, right? So assess opportunity to deliver value incrementally. Now here we are talking about agile. Here we are talking about agile, iterative and incremental delivery. Here the 4 values will play. What are the 4 values of agile, guys? I have a very weak memory. If you can tell me what are the 4 values of agile, please put in the chat box. Put in the chat box, Faisal. Okay, you want to say it? Say it. Faisal, go ahead. Say it.
It's okay. I'll put in the chat.
No,
It's
no, no.
okay.
Okay. If you now, you are very rare that you come to the coaching call, but I'm happy you are here.
Yeah, it's half past or sorry 10 past midnight.
It's okay. It's okay. Tell me, what are the 4 values of agile?
I was just saying customer satisfaction over processes.
Faisal, we need to work into that. After this, we need to talk. We cannot give
Sure.
up. Customer collaboration over contract negotiation.
Yeah.
Respond to a change over following a plan. Working software over comprehensive documentation. Individual and interaction over processes and tool. So here I need to see how I can provide value incrementally. Okay, and continuously measure value. That's why I say that if in the project business case is not relevant, we escalate to sponsor and the project may be cancelled. Okay, support the team to subdivide the task as necessary. MVP concept. So agile came here. The concept of MVP, incremental delivery, that comes here. Okay. Okay, next one. Now, this is the beauty of the exam. When I say exam is 80% stakeholder communication team agile. You heard me saying this again and again, right? Why? 42% of the exam we just covered. That was only a stakeholder communication team. Yes or no? Everyone agrees? Now, just see that. The first task was agile. The next task is manage communication. Analyze communication needs of the stakeholder. 4 hours of communication. What are the 4 hours of communication? Put in the chat box. Identify the method, push, pull, interactivity. How you are gonna communicate that? Is the communication gonna be daily, weekly? How? Level of details. In which document all these informations are? Communication management plan. 4 hours of communication. Right information at right time to right people to have a right impact. Okay. Communicate effectively. Confirm communication is understood. Get the feedback. So entire task on communication topic. Entire task on communication topic. Interesting? Yes or no, guys? Important and interesting? Okay. Acha, what do you prefer? That somebody of you read and then explain, or I read and explain? I just tried it for this other. What do you prefer? You read. Yeah, so that you don't have to read. Right, Tamur? Okay, okay, I'll read. I'll read. I won't give you the okay, okay, whatever you like, guys. Okay. Assess and manage risks. Acha. So now when we say exam come very less risk, there are only two tasks here. Determine risk management options. What are the options here? Positive risk, what to do, negative risk, what to do. Avoid, kill the risk, mitigate, decrease the intensity, transfer or accept. Exploit, enhance, share and accept. Okay. Then assess and prioritize. This is agile. Okay. In agile, we continuously assess the risk. We continuously look at the risk. We continuously see how that risk management is, and we need to improve into that. Okay. This covers your risk questions. Are we clear, guys? Anyone has any question so far? If this is clear, put in the chat box clear. Okay, good. Okay, next, let's go to the now. Again, I'm keep on saying that out of these tasks, we have covered so far 4 tasks. This stakeholder communication team agile, this stakeholder communication team agile. Okay. And again, now task 4. Engage stakeholder. Analyze power interest grid. Categorize stakeholder. Engage them by category and make a plan and execute it. Stakeholder plan has 2 things: strategies required to engage stakeholder, assessing their current engagement, and managing them accordingly. Okay, this is clear. Then plan and manage budget and resource. Again, resource is team is also resource, but 4 type of resources are there: manpower, machinery, budget. So let's say 4 type of resources. Identify the needs of the budget. What are the needs of the budget? Based on the scope and the process and lesson learned from past project. There are 4 estimation techniques. What are those 4 estimation technique? Put in the chat box. What are the 4 estimation technique? Put in the chat box. Analogous, 100% based in the past, parametric, like multiples of that, 3-point estimation and bottom-up estimation. Okay. And similarly, using SPI and CPI, anticipate future budget challenges. Okay. Monitor budget, again SPI, and work with them to adjust it. Okay. CPI, SPI, things of those nature. Plan and manage resources. That's it. Okay. This task, let's say this belongs to more of a scope, schedule, cost topic. Okay. Now we have schedule. Plan and manage schedule. Estimate task, milestone dependencies, story points. Utilize benchmark and historical data. Like that's
Analogous parametric.
yes, yes, Savati. Prepare schedule based on the methodology. So we have 2 methodology, predictive and agile. If it's predictive, we make schedule baseline. Agile, we make product backlog. Right? We make product backlog. We measure progress based on methodology. Now, agile, predictive, both are going. Shamuk, don't write on there. Modify schedule as needed and coordinate with other team members and operations. This is important. When you want to transfer, I need to coordinate with them. I need to tell them, hey, are you ready? We are going to transfer in few days. Make sense to everyone? Okay. Acha ji, plan and manage quality deliverables. Okay. Determine standards of quality, what standards we are going to look, and cost of quality will come here. Recommend option for improvement based on quality gaps. Continually survey deliverable quality. Okay. This is clear. This is a quality topic, straightforward quality topic. Plan, manage its quality with all the tools and technique. Okay. Plan and manage scope. Determine and prioritize requirement. Break down, monitor and validate. Okay. So here, look into that. This is cost, task 5. Task 6 is schedule. And task 8 is scope. But interesting part is It is both for predictive and agile. Okay. Both for predictive and agile. How do you manage scope in agile? How do you manage scope in predictive? How do you handle that? It looks into that way. Then finally, your integration. How do I integrate the project? Combine the project, you get project management plan. Consolidate project plans for dependencies, gap, business value. Okay. Analyze the data collected, collect and analyze to make formed decision. Like if the project is not going on track and I need to change something, how I'm going to change? What are the things required? Collect the critical information about it. Make sense to everyone? Okay. Make sense to everyone or no? Put yes or no in the chat box, guys, please. Okay. Now manage project changes. This is important. Why questions come from change management? Because of this. Because of this, the questions are coming from the change management. Because there's a change management in the exam content outline. Okay. Change management is in the exam content outline. Things are coming into the exam content outline. Let's read. Anticipate and embrace the need for change. So I know that things will change. How do change happens in agile? All changes go to how do the okay, put in the chat box. How do change happen in agile? Agile. From where the change control board is coming here? Paryal and Faisal. I don't know. Savati, what are you doing, guys? All the changes go to product owner. Sunil, not product backlog. All the changes go to product owner. You put them into product backlog depending on the priority of high value, high risk. Okay. Depending on the priority of high value, high risk, we handle those changes and we execute the changes accordingly. Okay. We execute the changes accordingly. How do changes happen in predictive? How do changes happen in predictive? Jimenas,
Amir, I have a question. Like, for example, don't you think so that they will go for high first?
come again. I did not understand. Come, can you repeat your question? Manas, can you repeat your question, please? Oh, your voice is not coming. Did anyone hear what Manas said? I did not hear it. All plans needs to be they goes to the change control board and that changes will happen accordingly. She said, will they do not high value? Will they do not high value, high impact? No, high value, high risk. High value, high risk, not impact. Value is impact. Okay. So we handle that. Determine strategy to handle changes. How I am gonna handle the changes? That we just discussed. Change management strategy according to methodology. We just discuss predictive and agile. Okay. We just discuss predictive and agile and changes happen accordingly. Determine a change response to move the project forward. Acha, sometimes things can happen so bad that we need to look into that and change it accordingly. Okay. So we look into that way. G Hemang.
Suppose any change comes, are we going to first make it a submit change request, or are we going to first analyze the impact, which will go to impact to schedule, cost, and scope? Then only we make a putting the all analysis along with the change request and submit to CCB board. What's exactly steps to follow? Just make a request, then analysis. What exactly steps?
Predictive or agile?
Predictive, because Agile doesn't have a CCD. Agile directly go for the product owner process. It's just predictive one.
Okay. Straightforward, you raise the change request. That should be the step. Once a change is, unless you don't raise
Okay.
one, unless let's say you see there's a change and it will take 3 hours to do the impact analysis. If there is not a change request, if you have not formally raised it, how I'm gonna calculate that time? Who's gonna pay for it? So once you raise the change request, raise the change request, and then the project manager to the impact analysis. So formally, change should be raised, then the impact analysis is done, And if the change is needed, then the project manager, along with the impact analysis, he can forward it to change control board. Then the change control board approve or reject the change. Okay.
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 One more thing.
Yes.
Suppose I need to make a change request. Shall I need to first update in change log, then make a request, or first make a request, then update in change log?
Putting the change in the change log is raising the change request. You need to raise
Okay.
a formal change request.
Okay.
So
Got
putting the
it.
change in the change log is raising the change request. If it's not given in any question that if it's agile, we consider hybrid. Yes. If it's not mentioned and you cannot tell exactly what it is, it will be considered as a hybrid. And in a hybrid, we handle the same change management as a normal, as a predictive. Okay. Thank you. Anyone else has any question?
Sorry. Sorry. Once changes be approved or reject, we need to first update the change log, then inform to respective person who made a change request. Am I right?
Updating
This
the
is the process.
updating the change log will automatically communicate to them. Okay, we will update the change log. That
Okay.
update
Okay.
the change log, communicate it, implement the change. Any other question, Hemant?
Okay.
Any other
No,
question,
thanks.
Hemant?
I got it. All the.
Okay. Acha ji,
No, thank you.
sure. Plan and manage procurement. Okay, so procurement is buying things from outside. Okay, uh, procurement is buying things from outside. We define resource requirements and need. Okay, we need to define resource requirements. What do they need? What do they need? Okay, we are gonna make it or buy it. Then we communicate those requirements. We manage the agreement, plan strategy, how the procurement is gonna handle, how you're not gonna pay, and develop a delivery solution. So straightforward procurement topic. Okay, straightforward procurement topic. Okay, straightforward procurement topic. Manaz, have you completed the agile topic? Because the question you are asking, we did answer that in the class also. We want to fail quickly. If I go for high value and low risk, as a result of that, if there is something that can damage my project, at the end of the, let's say I have done all high value, low risk, high value, low risk, high value, medium risk. And at the end of the day, when I'm going to deliver the entire project, there's a big risk that the project cannot be done at all. There's, there's a risk that they cannot go to the project at all. So we will go out of the way. So that is why high value, high risk is the way to go forward. Procurement is clear to everybody? Procurement is clear to? Okay. Then we go manage project artifact. Artifact is a fancy word to say document. Artifact is a fancy word that we use for documents. It says that we need to manage the document. What are the requirements? Who manage the document? How we are gonna do? Is it the current version or not? Okay. So requirement management plan, requirement traceability, they need to be managed. Validate that the information is kept up to date and we communicate with them. We don't want to use the old version. Okay. And we continuously assess whether the documents that are being used, are they updated document or they need some kind of change? Okay. Now, again, this comes down to which life cycle we use. Assess project needs, complexity and magnitude. Recommend project execution strategy, choose predictive agile, and then use iterative incremental throughout the project life cycles like lesson learns. Even you are in the predictive project, you are still using iterative way. In predictive and incremental also, by the way, we are using milestones. We are delivering milestone. We are getting phase gate review, but the project manager is reviewing those things. You do that or not, predictive people? You do that or not? You get them, they look at that and they approve it, right? Then we need to establish a governance structure, determine appropriate governance structure for project, and define the escalation path. Ooh, let me ask this question. Which plan defines how to escalate? communication management plan, because this is all about communication. Okay, this is all about communication. Recognize when a risk become an issue. When your plan is not working, it becomes an issue. Okay, attack it. This is all about issue log. Okay, attack the issue with optimal project success. Collaborate with the stakeholder. Okay, task number 16, ensure knowledge transfer for project continuity. Discuss responsibilities within the team, outline expectations like what do they need, and confirm approaches for knowledge transfer. I understand what is needed, I provide you a knowledge, and we continuously work it throughout the project. Clear? Okay. Plan and manage project closure or transition. Determine criteria to successfully close the project phase. Validate readiness, like we want to make sure they are ready for it. Conclude activities to close the project. That's your 50% of the exam. Let's explain it this way. Okay. Initiation, you get the project charter, by the project charter, assumption log, stakeholder register. Here, we already know the governance structure of the organization, but then when we make a project management plan, governance should be defined. What governance should be? The value has been defined. Then here we defined, is the going to scope is going to fix or variable? Are we going to go for predictive or agile? How we are going to do delivery? How the schedule is going to do? How the cost is going to do? How you are going to engage stakeholder? Communication, risk, quality, procurement. How I'm going to continuously transfer the knowledge. Then once the plan is approved, you have agreed, then we work into that. In agile or predictive, the risks are there, which we have identified it. As we are working along the way, we handle issues. We handle issues for the project. What are the current issues? How these issues are handled? We are managing conflict among the team. We are managing stakeholders. We are conducting procurement, signing the agreements. We are doing those things, right? Then here I am handling the change control board. Changes are happening. I do the changes to that. When the changes are approved, the changes are handled into that way. I am measuring the progress, SPI, CPI, verified deliverable, accepted deliverable. Okay. This I keep on doing that. A change is there, change is approved, I implement the change. I implement the change. Finally, once the deliverable is accepted, once the deliverable is accepted, then I go for closing the project. Okay. Then I go for closing the project. If I called about the journey of PMP, you start with the project charter, then you make project management plan in agile product backlog. Then you work into that, you produce deliverable. Then deliverable goes to control quality. When the control quality inspect the deliverable, what do we get? What do we get? You guys know I have a weak memory, guys. So I need you. I get a verified deliverable. Then it goes to validate scope. Now what do we get? I get accepted deliverable or validated. Then in closing, I get the approval from the sponsor. I check my operational team is ready. They are ready for the transition. Then I close the project. Okay. That was the entire 50% of the process domain. Is it clear? Now, is it clear to you like why when I say 80% of the exam is stakeholder, communication, team, agile? Because 42% is directly that. Then even in this, there is a like 60% are those content. Okay? Okay, let's go to the last domain. Okay. Now, business environment. So 8%, what do you mean by 8%? How many questions come from there? Something. Asad, unmute yourself. Asad Riaz?
Yes, sir.
Read the first one.
Plan and manage project compliance. confirm project compliance requirements, for instance, security, health and safety, regulatory compliance, classify compliance categories, determine potential threats to compliance, use methods to support compliance, too much compliance, analyze and consequences of non-compliance, determine necessary approach and action to address compliance needs, for instance, risk and legal, measure the extent to which the project is in compliance.
Okay. Asad, all the compliance requirement goes to which document?
Quality.
Risk register.
Sorry. How is it? It's compliance. It should be. We're going to
Compliance
quality.
is a risk. Quality compliance are managed there. Why would you manage health compliance in quality?
Thank you.
Okay. Compliance is a risk. If you don't do something, that can destroy your project. Okay. So we put all the compliance requirement, determine potential threat to the compliance. Threat is a negative risk. What is the type of the compliance? Okay. And you continuously measure those compliance along the way. So Asad, you were saying what is compliance? Where did this yesterday? I guess Faiza, when she was sharing journey, at that time you asked the question. That's why I asked you to read it. Okay, the compliance come from this thing. All the compliance in summary are risk, and they come to the risk register. Okay, Savati, can you read the task number 2, sister?
Evaluate and deliver project benefits and value. Investigate that benefits are identified. Document agreement on ownership for ongoing benefit realization. Verify measurement system is in place to track benefits. Evaluate delivery options to demonstrate value. Apprise stakeholders of value gain progress.
So we make a benefit management plan, benefit owners, who is gonna use those benefits, how those benefits are going to be processed along the way, and we've worked into that way. Okay. Hasnain, can you read the task number 3, please? Hasnain? Hasnain, are you with me? Okay. Amir, can you read, please?
Evaluate and address external business environment changes from impact and scope. First one, survey changes to external business environment, example, regulations, technology, geopolitical, and market. Second one, assess and prioritize impact on project scope backlog based on changes in external business environment. Third one is recommend options for scope backlog changes. Example, schedule and cost changes. Fourth one, continually review external business environment for impacts on project scope and backlog.
So simple is that political, economical, social, technical, legal, environmental. What we measure the pestle. We need to check the internal problems, external problem, and we need to manage the project accordingly. Right? The pestle analysis is there. Donald, the next one.
Support organizational change. Assess organizational culture. Evaluate impact of the organization change, the project, and determine required actions. Evaluate the impact of the project to the organization and determine required actions.
So what is needed there and what are the requirement things into that? That's your 8% of the exam. So this is basically in our class when we do fundamental class, right? The fundamental topic, the day one, where do that is the entire thing. OPS, EF. What is OPS, EF? Benefit management plan, business case, governance structure. That is your entire thing into that. So that's your 100% of PMP exam. So now let me ask you anything that is not clear. This is your entire PMP. Your PMP cannot, your anything in the PMP exam cannot come from anything else. Okay, it comes from this. This is your PMP. Okay, this no here, no there. The entire exam, PMP exam is not based on any of the book. The PMP exam on based on this and alone this thing. Okay, so maybe I'll share you the I'll give the document there again also. Go through this document 2-3 times at your own time. look at that video again. I will upload it, and then worked into that way. Okay, this is important. Everyone clear about that? Any question on that? Okay, now we have two options. We can do 60 questions of ATP. I will give you that. Or we can do 120 agile questions. Okay, which one you want to do? I'll give you 5 minute break. Think about it. Okay, actually I'll give you 10 minutes break. Think about it. Get back to me. Okay.